There is still a stigma that one doesn't seek help for depression. Sometimes you hear, get over it, just be happy. Well, it's not that easy, and our next guest is helping to change that mindset. Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ken Ackerman. Joining us is Tom Parker, spokesman for Lines for Life. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Ken.
Lines for Life is a suicide hotline. One of the things you do?
Well, we're a nonprofit that works to prevent substance abuse and suicide. And to that end, we deal with a lot of folks. We handle about 33,000 phone calls a year in the areas of suicide prevention, in alcohol and drug addiction, in helping youth with the issues of teen years, and of course our military with the issues that they sometimes face in reintegrating and helping them be successful.
So in this state, it sounds high, and tell me if I'm wrong, but 700 suicides a year in Oregon alone?
Yeah, I mean, think about that. That's like, 2 of the Malaysian airliners gone each year. That's a lot. I mean, it's 5 times the homicide rate. And, it's somewhat reflecting of what we see across the nation, but Oregon, some of the Northwest states have an especially high suicide rate. They're not sure the exact reason for that, climate or otherwise. It could be the type of individuals we have out here in the West, sort of rugged individuals, want to be independent and not tend to share their pain with other people.
I was talking about a stigma that still exists today.
Sure.
You don't talk about mental health issues in the family. You don't talk about suicide. And you say it's still very prevalent.
Behind almost all of these issues is some level of mental health issues. And we were taught, a lot of folks were taught, that this is a moral failing, that it is not, you're weak if you are involved in that. Snap at it, but look at all the things you've got. You've got food on the table, yada, yada, yada. Well, let me give you an example. If somebody had diabetes, for example, we wouldn't say snap out of it to them. We would say, okay, let's get you to the doctor. The doctor would say, okay, let's look at see what your insulin levels are, see if we need to adjust those. Let's look at your diet. Let's look at your exercise level. These are things we can do something about. In the case of depression, quite often it's a serotonin issue in the brain, a way of thinking that's sort of self-reinforcing. And there's help available for those things. And we have to quit looking at them like they are shortcomings. And I have a lot of faith in the future. You go back 40 years ago, people did not talk about addiction. They did not talk about alcoholism. They did not talk even about breast and cancer. But along came a wonderful woman named Betty Ford who came and said, hey, I'm an alcoholic. Let me tell you about that. I'm a drug addict. Let me tell you about that. Oh, by the way, I've got breast cancer. And now we fast forward 40 years, you've got 40,000 women walking on the Portland waterfront to fight breast cancer. I'm envisioning a day when we're open enough to share these family issues. It's like you would tell your kids, hey, we've got a tendency towards diabetes in the family. Watch your weight, watch these things, watch out for these signs. You should say, look, on both sides of our family, we've got some mental health issues. It's not negative, it's just know what you're dealing with.
Well, people know diabetes is a disease. A lot of people don't feel that depression is a disease.
But it is.
Yeah.
It's very clearly a disease, and we now have mental health parity to go with physical parity with health issues.
Your intervention specialists that would answer these phone calls, how are they trained?
The folks that answer the phones receive a lot of very strenuous training, close to 60 hours. That's a lot. I mean, including 16 hours of what's called ASSIST, Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training.
Which would be psychological.
It's psychological and it's practical. It's the international standard for suicide prevention, and it has to do with listening to the person, finding out what their reasons are, why they think they need to die. Helping them discover who their support group is, what their options are, and reconnect with their reasons for living. And quite often through careful listening, we can help reconnect them. There's not a pat answer. Nobody calls in and says, okay, so do this and do that.
800-273-TALK is the number. Tom Parker, thank you very much for joining us. We want to thank you for being here as well on Comcast Newsmakers. Make it a great day, everyone.